Hello everyone, this is Alex with Anchor Collectibles and we're back with another Commander Spotlight. And today we're talking about Tayam, Luminous Enigma. Now this deck is a deck that if you like bringing stuff back again and again, and maybe annoying your play group a little bit, this is the one for you. So Tayam is a 4 mana Abzan commander. It gives all your creatures a vigilance counter when they enter, which is nice, but the real reason we're here is that ability where you pay 3, remove 3 counters from any creatures you control, and you mill, and then you reanimate a permanent with mana value 3 or less. Doesn't sound too crazy at first, but once you get it running, it gets out of hand quick. All right, so what's the game plan? Well, we're putting counters on our creatures and turning those creatures into value. We have multiple ways to add counters to our creatures and prevent our opponent's creatures from getting counters, and we turn that into value using Tayam's ability. So we have a few that we can bring back. We have Cauldron Familiar, Remorseful Cleric for that graveyard hate, Fleshback Marauder, as well as Demon's Disciple for that destruction of our opponent's creatures. Well, not destruction, but sacrificing. And we do have Spore Frog. Now, Tayam's ability is not at sorcery speed, so you can do this every single turn if you have the mana available, making sure that you have Spore Frog on the battlefield. Safehold Elite has Persist, so when it dies, it gets a -1/-1 counter, which works very well with our +1/+1 counters, because if you put a +1/+1 counter on a creature with a -1/-1 counter, they cancel out, so you can trigger Persist again. We also have other ways to recur our creatures besides our commander. Because we know he's going to get targeted. We are an Abzan. We got great colors for that. We have Raise Dead, Unearth, Luminous Broodmoth. If a creature dies without flying, it enters with a flying counter, which works well with our commander because we remove those flying counters. Lurrus, the Dream Den, Unholy Indenture, Unhallowed Pact, and Balaged Recovery, which is also a dual land. Or dual. It's not a dual land, it's a MFD, multi-face MDF, multi-dual face, I don't know. But it can either enter as a land or you can cast its ability. I also snuck in some some token creation into this. This I like because it can be a little annoying for our opponents. If they board wipe, we can sacrifice this after the last creature dies to get 4 1/1 colorless tokens, spirits. The reason we want to make tokens is because Tayam doesn't care if it's a non-token creature or not. Yes, this won't trigger Tayam's ability because Tayam is not on the battlefield, but all our other token makers are. Hidden Stockpile, and we are going to be sacrificing some creatures, so when we do, this gives us another token to trigger Tayam. Retreat to Emeria with Landfall. Revival of the Ancestors not only gives us token creatures, it also gives us counters. And we have a couple equipments from the Final Fantasy set, Dark Knight's Greatsword and White Mage's Staff, which both make tokens. So, of course, we do have some removal or some disruption to stop our opponents. Banishing Light, Nahiri's Binding, mostly, if you noticed, they are 3 mana enchantments that we can recur with Tayam. So if the creature dies with the enchantment on there, we can just recur it. These are targeted instant and sorcery removals, mostly instances, and our board wipe split up. Our mana utility is pretty simple. We don't have a lot of dual lands and stuff like that. We do have some ramp. Breath of Meletis is something that we can recur through Tayam. This is a mana dork that mills, so it feeds our graveyard. Farseek finds lands. Tangled Florahedron is a creature, or you can play it as a land if you want. And Land of War Elves. Final Fantasy set just came out. So one of the things that I really liked about it was it brought a new enchantment type. Enchantment creature sagas. So this was great when I heard about it because this works with Tayam very well. You get the effects of the saga over and over by removing the counters, because Tayam just says remove 3 counters from among creatures you control. So you remove one of the counters, it brings it back to the previous lore, I guess you'd call it, story. And you get the next ones again. So I was happy to see Final Fantasy with these. Dion's another one that transforms. It's costly to transform it, but it does put counters on creatures you control. So it matches the gameplay of the deck. Fenrir gives us some ramp. This gives us a token, and this gives our pumps our creatures. And again, you can repeat this over and over by removing those lore counters off of them. That's Tayam's never-ending story. Counters become recursion, recursion becomes value, and eventually you just grind everyone out. It's not the flashiest win condition, but if you like playing the long game and forcing your opponents to waste their removal 5 times in a row, this is your commander. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to check out the description for links to our other Commander Spotlight videos and our product openings, and the link to our store if you're hunting for any singles. Drop a comment if you're a fan of the Tayam build, or if you've ever had to sit across from Spore Frog loops. I'd love to hear how that went for you. Best of luck, and I will see you next time.